Hey everyone, I'm Sarah from thesistersenchanted.com, and I am bringing you day one of our free Learn to Read Oracle Cards class. So, thank you so much for joining us. I'm so happy to have you here. If you haven't already joined our Facebook group, it's aptly named The Sisters Enchanted. Go ahead and do that. You can find the link in all of the emails that I send you in regards to the class. And in that group, we'll just be sharing all kinds of information, but specifically in regards to the Oracle card reading class, you'll be able to practice over there, chat with other like-minded ladies. If you don't have any in-person friends who read Oracle cards, you can meet some of us online and gain a whole new community of women that you can hang out with and share common ideas with. So this class is geared towards those of you who are not experienced in Oracle card reading. So if you are super experienced, have been doing it for years, this might not be the class for you, but certainly hang around. Join us in the Facebook group. Maybe you will find something new or spark a new love for Oracle card reading. Or just think of it in a way you hadn't before. So certainly everyone is welcome here, but it is geared towards beginners. Just FYI on that. So today, day one is all about choosing which card deck to use for your readings. So that might seem kind of arbitrary, like, how hard could that be? But it actually is really important because if you don't have a good connection with your card deck, or it's one that doesn't make sense to you, it doesn't resonate with you in any way, then your readings might not be super accurate. You might have a hard time reading, and it might not be enjoyable to you. So if this is something that you've been interested in and thinking about for a long time and are just now diving in, if you grab a deck that doesn't work for you, you might get the wrong impression of how Oracle card reading works in your life. So you definitely want to spend some time to think about that. And if you do have a deck already that you didn't put, a ton of effort into choosing, that's fine. Go ahead and use it. Just bear in mind that if you find it difficult to read those cards, or you don't find, a ton of joy in reading them, then it might not necessarily be the process of the Oracle card reading that you're not enjoying, but it could just be that you need a different deck. So don't be disheartened if you find that the deck that you have right now you're not doing real well with, if you just picked it out of the blue on a whim one day. So that would be, that would not come off as strange to me if you were having that experience. So we're going to talk about a few different ways to choose your deck today and a couple different types of deck. If you're not in the Facebook group and you head over there and join at the Sisters Enchanted Facebook group, Anna, who is my real life sister and a contributor to the Sisters Enchanted, has been reviewing decks in there for like the past week, I think. So she shows, I think, almost every card, if not most cards, from different decks, all different kinds of decks too. So if you'd like to see some, you can jump over there, just join up in the group, and you can watch those videos that she has. So the most important thing when choosing an Oracle card deck is choosing one that has illustrations that really resonate with you. So some Oracle card decks can have really complex illustrations. Some are really simple. I have an example here to show you of ones that are more complex and more simple. So here's one that is just pretty simple, right? I don't think you might not be able to see it in the video, but there's a rabbit and a full moon. So really simple, just the two things going on. And then here's one that has, a lot more going on. So different shades of coloring to look at, there's a mermaid and there's birds and there's a tree and you've got the sky and you've got the water. So all different elements happening there. So two very different types of illustrations. And these are just two examples. So you can find decks that have animals, that have goddesses, that have nature elements, that have, there's awesome ones that are focused on trees with chakra colors, all different kinds of things. So when you're choosing your illustrations, you kind of want to know what your interest is in and what you know about. So if you're really into goddesses, you might want to choose a goddess deck. If you're really into elementals, maybe a fairy deck, a mermaid deck would be, more your style. The I personally am into elementals and into the moon phases. So I have a moon phase deck and I've got some elemental decks. So think about if you are, knowledgeable about different symbols, different animals, whatever that may be. And then the kind of illustrations you like. So more black and white, darker, brighter, pastel colors, neon colors, or if you like things that are more cartoony or more realistic. So really, what kind of art draws your eye? What kind of art lights you up inside and that you enjoy looking at because you're going to be looking at it and trying to gain something from it? So that's the illustration piece. So kind of what kind of illustrations you're looking for. People, animals, elementals, so fairies, mermaids, that kind of thing. The list is quite long of different kinds of illustrations you can find. So the first thing I would do is think about the kind of illustrations that you would be interested in looking at. The next is whether or not you want any writing on your cards. So again, these cards, here's a fairy deck, have a ton of writing on them, right? So there's at the top what it is, and then what the card represents, and then a whole phrase here at the bottom. So a card like that can be really great for a beginner because you don't have to put too much work into reading into what the card means because it's right there for you. This deck that I have, the Moon Phases Oracle deck, it just has, one or two words on each card. So you would need to use more of your intuition to tap into the meaning of that card. For me personally, as I developed in my Oracle card reading, I like the ones now where I can tap into my own intuition and see what I'm getting from it. But I still enjoy pulling a card that has phrases on it just for a one, give me a card, guide me, what do I need right now in my day? Really super simple and easy to do and easy to understand on the go. So if you're really, really new to it, you might want a card deck that has more words and phrases on it. Or just jump right in and get one that's focused on pictures. Most decks, especially ones that are just pictures, will come with some kind of guidebook, which will give you more insight into the author's intended meaning for each card. And you certainly don't have to go by the guidebook. You can just go by what your intuition tells you as well. So far, you want to think about the illustrations, what kind of illustrations you're interested in, and whether or not you want words and phrases on your cards. So I apologize, I'm looking at my notes so I don't forget anything. Another piece that you want to think about is whether or not it matters to you if it's a mass-produced deck or more of a self-published or indie deck. So again, these ones that I'm showing you here, I have some mass-produced decks. Doreen Virtue is huge in this field. So, and there's nothing wrong with mass-produced deck. I have the Mermaids deck by Doreen Virtue. I have Magical Messages from the Fairies, and I love them both. But if it is important to you to get something that is, it's produced in smaller amounts, or there is a deck right now that just came out that I ordered that I haven't received yet, but the creators took great care to have it printed on like recycled paper with a printer that's powered with solar power, with just all kinds of little touches like that. So if that's really important to you, and this deck is actually a small limited edition deck that was self-published. So if that's important to you, then you can search on Etsy, or if you hashtag Oracle Cards on Instagram, you can search through there for more self-published and indie type decks. So your illustrations, what kind of illustrations you're drawn to, people, animals, more cartoons, more realistic, real earthy, naturey. So the illustrations that you're looking at, what resonates with you, whether or not the cards have words and phrases on them. Indie produced or small batch produced versus mass produced. That's the third piece you want to look at. And then actually purchasing your deck. So A lot of people have to purchase their decks online because it can be difficult if you don't live in a place that has New Age or metaphysical stores nearby. If you can get to a New Age or metaphysical store, that's always the best option because you can actually look through sample decks. But depending where you live, even I live in Connecticut in the US, and here, even the metaphysical stores in my area, many of them don't have sample decks available, especially not for all the decks that they carry. So even though you might be able to go to a store, you still may not be able to actually see and touch and hold the cards. So if you're shopping online, I recommend looking for pictures of the deck online, looking for reviews on YouTube. As I said, we have a bunch of different deck videos in our Facebook group, so that's a good place to check out Oracle card decks. So if you get a chance to look at them in person, I really recommend it. You can hold them, you can look at the different images, you can see if you like them, how it makes your body feel. If you are, pretty intuitive and in touch with your energy, how does it make you feel to hold the deck? Do you just feel, are you feeling nothing in particular? Are you feeling really lit up? I know for me that when I feel like something's really super exciting, I feel like in my throat, like I can just breathe. So are you feeling where your good energy comes from when you're holding the deck and looking through the images? Another way that some people choose an Oracle deck, if they just want to purchase one and they're not sure of which one, and they do have an opportunity to hold them in person, maybe they choose a card at random from each deck that they're thinking about, and then of those cards, the one that resonates the most with them, that's the deck that they purchase. So that's kind of an intuitive way of choosing your deck. And yeah, so you can pull one from each card deck, choose intuitively, trust your energy. And if you're purchasing online, go ahead and look for video reviews. So that is it for today. So choosing your deck it's super important so that you have a deck that's going to give you a good experience. If you have one that's not a great fit for you, then you might not really enjoy reading Oracle cards and then miss out on an opportunity for something that you would have loved to do if you had the right deck. And if you do have a deck that you aren't getting a lot of excitement from, I mentioned in the beginning, it's totally okay to practice reading with it. But if you aren't feeling totally lit up by reading your deck, then it's possible that you just need to try a new one. And we all change too over time. So, sometimes there's periods of time where I'm really into one certain deck and then, there's a shift in me or a shift in the seasons or the time of year, and I gravitate towards a different deck that's entirely different, and I use that for a period of time. So it's okay to have multiple types of decks. You don't have to be pigeonholed into, oh, well, I'm an earthy person, I need an earthy deck. No, it's totally okay to find a deck that's, completely different for you. I just ordered the Extraordinary Oracle deck, which is completely different from any of the things that I normally would purchase. Completely different graphics. It's totally out of my comfort zone. But I actually wanted it for that reason, because it'll push me to do something different, push me to look further into the symbols and think a little bit differently here and challenge myself. So it's totally okay to have different types of decks. If you're feeling like, oh my gosh, well, what's wrong with me? I really like this deck, but I also really like this one that's totally different. That's normal. But for your first deck, try and find one that, if you want the words and phrases, it has the words and phrases on it. It has illustrations that are easy for you to understand and interpret intuitively. If you're looking at it and you're just thinking, oh my gosh, I can't get anything from this intuitively, there's nothing here that I resonate with, then that probably is not the deck for you to begin with. And by that, I mean, if you pick up a card and it has all of these, like, I don't know, swords and birds and things, and you're like, I have no idea what that means, then that would be a deck that would not be a good fit for you. But if you pick up a deck that has, like a couple of sleeping dogs on one card, or a wolf on a card, or a tree, and you can think, oh, well, a wolf is, kind of wild and dogs are tame. So you can get something from that, then that would be the deck to choose. So look through the cards, watch videos online if you're not able to touch the cards in person, and see which ones you can relate to, which ones resonate with you, the artwork, the illustrations, whether or not the words and phrases are what you need right now. If you want a deck that's mass-produced versus smaller scale produced or indie produced, And if you can touch it, see how it feels in your body to be holding that deck. And that's it. So choosing your Oracle deck is all that you needed to do for today. If you go back into the email, then this is broken down for you a little bit more so that you can maybe copy and paste it into the notes of your phone and take it with you when you're deck shopping. Just jot down some ideas. All right, so I will see you tomorrow when we talk about preparing your deck for a card reading. So that's it. I hope you guys have a great day. Hop on over to the Facebook group and let us know your thoughts on choosing your deck. If you already have one, which deck you have, and if you have some ideas in mind, let us know those too. We'll give you some feedback. All right, take care. Bye-bye.